Hello everybody and welcome to the Irish Rap Roundup for September of 2021. This is a show where I review a select few Irish hip hop songs from the previous month. Links to all songs featured will be down in the description below, as well as timecodes if you want to skip ahead. There will also be a link to the Irish Rap Roundup playlist, which has every video in the series so far. But without any further ado, let's start the roundup with Sello feat. Offica, Oggy.
Every rose grows merry. She'll be here too low.
Sello.
Nice.
Drill isn't typically in my wheelhouse, but I really enjoyed this song. The beat is heavy and atmospheric. The visuals were top notch with very high production value, great cinematography and some interesting and creative editing choices. I wasn't a massive fan of using scantily clad women twerking in the video. I don't know, I just think it's a bit overused at this point in hip hop, and there's some very gratuitous close-up shots of the women's bodies which just seemed like in poor taste.
Oggy, my style they try copy, they come suicide and get killed like body just criminal. Oggy, my style they try copy, they come suicide and get roll like Rocky the criminal.
I really liked Sello's bars on this track though. It's fantastic that he used aspects of Irish culture in his lyricism, and he even has some bars off Gaeilge. A lot of the visuals have different nods to Irish culture as well.
I don't wanna hear best in drill living from Ireland and you say on UK. Yeah, you man are only Irish and pie these days. I'm way too rare, ruggle me rare, my YG's itching to ride all day.
I think the issue a lot of people have with Irish drill is that the majority of artists are just copying British phrases and styles, and they don't really inject anything original to the scene. The fact that this drill song has some degree of Irish patriotism makes it really special to me.
All the young fellas think I'm famous, I sing a Dublin down the Dublin Bay. Shawty wanna pop to the pop, no JB bang, no safety, bash for sales. I don't really do like ease, and this one's looking like AJ Tracy.
The hook is kind of minimalist but still enjoyable. Offica has a more developed style to his flows and delivery, but I still think Sello is the better MC on the song. The fact that he took a predominantly British style of rap and made it sound so uniquely Irish was fascinating to me, and I loved it. It's a great commentary on the Irish drill scene and definitely subverts expectations.
Thief, ole, ole. My style they try copy, they come D-town, they get bomb with fire, we're screaming out ole, ole, ole. Got drillers in a Batman swerving on the hot block just lurking.
Jonny Darko, Bittersweet. This track is really good. It gets off to a bit of a slow start with a lengthy, cringily acted attempt at a comedy skit for an intro. At about 45 seconds when the beat first drops in, it sounds unusual and strange and it's not very melodic, but about a minute in when Jonny starts rapping, the beat changes into something that's way more pleasing on the ears, and Jonny's top-notch bars carry the whole track.
I used to want strawberry daiquiris, you'd sip from a hammock, but nowadays my radio silence is worse than the static. But I've been vibing lately, barely surviving baby, and plus all that sleeping in the backseat will probably drive me crazy.
His use of wordplay, metaphors and similes are very intelligent. His raps have nicely structured schemes with multi-syllable rhymes. I like his lyrical content about being happy with where he's at in life right now. It stands out to me because a lot of rappers have bars about how they're gonna blow up and make a lot of money, but Jonny literally says that once he can feed his cat he's happy. I think that's a really good message.
I'm living proof that you get better with time, no cap. That's why I've got a feather in mine. I used to want the acting movies, used to want the bad and bougies. Nowadays, once the fucking cat is fed, I'm Gucci. So
there's also a bit of self-awareness when he says every dog has its day and today is not mine. He's able to have a happy-go-lucky tone to the track while also discussing real-life issues. It's a very interesting insight into the mind of an underground rapper who's perfectly content with his career. He's not aspiring to be the biggest name in hip-hop. He's happy with where he's at right now, and that happiness is infectious to the listener, and I really enjoyed this song.
if I'm not in the spotlight or your top 5, it's all fine. Every dog has its day and today is not mine. You hear a lot, once a peasant adheres to the law, the land, this really was a hell of a year. Look, they say life can be bittersweet, and that company loves misery.
RS, Bandz Freestyle. RS is definitely a promising new artist with a lot of potential, but I do have some feedback on this track. First off, the beat sounds like most free drill beats you'd find on YouTube. It consists of basically one very short loop played over and over. The visuals were bare bones with not much going on. I really don't like that thing that some editors do where they have stock images or GIFs pop up when they vaguely relate to the bars. It seems kind of an obvious choice.
Take a seat for me, mate, have a statement. Have a statement to make, I was only 14, no food on me plate. I was kicked out the gaff, had to stay at me mates. That shit wasn't part of the plan, so I jumped to the streets, now I'm part of the gang.
The track has no hook or chorus and it's just verses back to back. This can be difficult to execute properly, especially with a repetitive beat and no features, but I think RS had the right amount of talent to carry this song on his own. But I also feel like the decision to keep this song at 2 minutes was smart. It may have gotten tired if the track went on any longer than that.
Built for a one, no life, 14, selling weed was a chill, no white touch road with me bags, no love for me dad. Headed to the trap just to make a couple bands.
RS has a great sense of timing and really good delivery. I enjoyed the lyrics about his personal life and I thought the bars about trapping sounded really realistic and genuine. It doesn't come across like he's trying to glorify it, but rather like he's portraying actual things that people have to do for money. I think those aspects should be explored further in future tracks.
Yeah, if your words are 10-10, I'm gonna have a shake it. Take her back to the gaff and show her how to bake it. Ha, ask her how it was, let's just say it was a great kiss. Made love to them fake tits, chilling with the gang queued up, she's giving facelifts. And I'm telling you to face it.
The thing about this track I didn't enjoy is his multiple uses of misogynistic bars about sex. It's just an outdated approach at this point. If you can say these types of things in a creative, surprising or satirical way, it's more interesting to listen to, but when it's just kind of dry and unimaginative references to sex, it isn't very unique at all. It's just furthering the stereotype that rappers are all sexists, and it may also make it difficult for women to listen to and enjoy your music.
Still making guap with your board in the back, she be taking it off. Cruising in the Beamer, I'll be cruising in the S3. With your board in the passer with one hand on me testes, giving me the look as if she's ready to molest you while I'm sitting in the gaff. Thinking, boy, did you test me?
Sun's Phonetic, Nakatomi. Sun's Phonetic are in a league of their own. They're one of the few Irish rap acts that are capable of perfectly encapsulating the sound of old school boom bap, both in the production and in the rapping styles. The beat is very jazzy with classic sample arrangement. The visuals are a bit strange. It's just footage of the boys mucking about with a watermark and a heavy editorial amount of colour correction.
No standard marksman, we live between the lines and expand the margins. Hot shots gather around the target on the canvas parchment, standing in the garden like a granite gargoyle.
I've talked about this group twice before, so I'll keep this brief. One of the major strengths of Sun's Phonetic is the varied styles of deliveries and writing across the MCs. It doesn't come across that some are more skilled than others, but it rather sounds like they all have their own individual take on how they want their raps to sound. There's a good sense of variety within this one group. They're all on a similar plane of technical competency, but they're all capable of standing out from one another at the same time.
Love for this shit, it's hard to define and extend beyond the scope of the rational mind. Like when atoms collide, I speed faster than light, but Venus subatomic particle types and the schematics of life.
Some rap groups have rappers that all sound so similar that the track might as well only have one MC on it, and then other rap groups will have vastly different amounts of talent between the rappers and the track will sound kind of choppy and different. Sun's Phonetic strike the perfect balance of having consistency and individuality between multiple artists. This track is criminally underviewed, go check it out.
And I'm trying to self-actualize, like Nas from a king to a god that's on God.
Yes, I would say it was. When I'm supposedly...
Kinder Brano, Jiggy with the Kid.
Damn, Aiden, you a killer.
Dumb boy.
So I didn't enjoy this track much, to be honest. Before I delve into constructive criticism, I'd like to point out a couple of areas in which I think this rapper has improved recently. He's stopped using the one exact same YouTube beat producer that he's used a lot in the past, so it's good that he's branching out in terms of instrumental selection. He's also developed in his sense of timing a good bit, his flows have improved, and his rhyming structure has gotten somewhat more advanced than it used to be, and fair play to him for all these improvements. Some rappers tend to stay in the same rut and make identical sounding music for years, but this chap seems to be growing and learning when compared to his older stuff. But yeah, now for some honest feedback on this song.
It's time to get jiggy with it, jiggy with the kid. Fuck the business, I'm getting jiggy with the kid. I'm busy with the fizz, at the party with the drink, but you better get ready to get jiggy with the kid.
The tone of voice and delivery on this song sound kind of stilted and unnatural. MCs typically want to sound effortless when they rap, whereas this guy just sounds a little bit awkward, almost like he's not entirely comfortable and confident in himself yet.
The kid, he's pouring shots like a shooter with a Glock, so act like a police officer and tell him when to stop. But he treats you like a champagne bottle when you're popped, hit the bottom of the floor when you think you had enough.
The subject matter is mostly mostly about partying, which to me has become very stale in the scene at this stage. Early rappers would have lyrics about getting drunk and it would sound interesting because it set the genre apart from other styles of music, but now it's like there's so much poetry and expression in the scene that you're really only limited by your own imagination. In most cases these days, rapping about just getting drunk isn't very creative.
Debating on who's the best rapper that's new, yeah. And if it ain't me, there ain't no debating. No hating on the rest of them, but they ain't me. Yeah. Wanna beat them on a beat, they will see who I be in a week. Honestly, don't unleash the beast. Take a seat, Pippa, please. I'm a beacon of hope. You'll see when I'm over people who wanna be goated.
There's also a couple of self-aggrandizing lyrics in this song. This is a technique I think should only be approached by 1. People taking the piss, or 2. Rappers who have an insane amount of technical skill. Bigging yourself up and talking about how you're a fantastic rapper doesn't resonate with listeners, especially if you're only getting started and you still haven't properly developed your own style.
And Jiggy with the kid, yeah, no kid G. My open schemes, you hope I leave. I'm dope, believe. Dance around opponents like the rope Ali use, yeah, rope a dope Ali shuffle.
I think people will vibe more with a humble rapper who has awareness of their own abilities as opposed to a rapper who tells you how deadly they think they are. But yeah, Brano, this track is kind of a miss for me. I hope the next one I hear from you has an improved level of quality.
Yeah, I'm fucking lit like a candle in this bitch. My bars are like a handgun when I load the clip. I'll let him off in this club and then I'll fucking dip. Yeah, call me a bodyguard cause I'm a fucking
Wallfella, same song. The beat on this song has a very new wave feel to it. The piano and melodic vocal samples sound very relaxing, and when the bass and hi-hats kick in, the instrumental has more of a trap feel to it. In the description of this video, YouTube flagged the beat for being both a Young Lot song and a Nines song, so this may be a beat that was robbed from a famous artist.
Try to make me crumble, but I stay strong. People ask me where do I get my game from. Took it from the patch that I was raised on. Asked a millionaire, but she just got my name wrong.
Wallfella delivers the hook on this track in kind of a singing style, which sounded really nice. When he raps in his verses, there's a different and more punchy style of delivery. The contrast of these two separate tones of voice on the one song really show how much range Wallfella has as an artist.
Living in a fantasy, tell them to get back to me. Stuck inside a bubble like I'm Leo in the driving seat. Silence players, don't let them come near me cause they'll damage me. Trying to get my point across that everyone around me see.
This is by far one of my favourite rappers I've discovered recently. He's capable of being vulnerable on his tracks and also sounding quite honest. I really enjoy the fact that Wallfella is keeping it real and just expressing his feelings. A lot of rappers have a persona or an alter ego, whereas this MC seems like he's just being true to himself.
Climbing up the levels now, man this shit's a rush. Had enough of the mess around, this slacking shit is rough. Fuck the tough, I'm a soft boy, show each other love. Man I stayed strong, now I think I'm finally on the coast.
He reminds me a lot of an updated, more technically competent version of Kojak. Kojak has very expressive lyrics, but I feel like Kojak sometimes goes down the path of being overly experimental. But with Wallfella, he's able to open up about himself on a song while also keeping within the confinements of the genre. I really like this guy's music, go check him out.
Stuck up in a system, I don't want a slave now. Stop myself from getting stuck, I put my brakes on. Different day, but my life feels like the same song. Pray to God, hope it isn't me who's getting rained on.
Suttin, Onlyfans.
That's gag.
The beat on this song is kind of out there and experimental. There's a lot of different competing layers on top of each other. At times the instrumental can sound kind of messy and crowded with so many different stems going on at the same time. The visuals are pretty good. I like the locations, the lighting and the props. This is another video that features scantily clad women, but in this case I think it's slightly more tasteful than in the Sello song. There's no gratuitous close-ups and for the most part they're in the background, and they're not twerking around and dancing in an overly sexualized manner.
Can't tell me with 100 band I go too cold to control me. I flew about 100 men, still some them say they don't know me. Come stop them at Onlyfans, see a real man flow when you're lonely. Don't do it for the crumbs on grams, man, I'm in this for the shams only.
The hook has some slight variations in the different times when it's said, which sounded interesting to me. Suttin has great schemes in this song. He seems to inject a lot of artistry and poetry into his writing, and sometimes his subject matter can be very complex and deep.
Time was I wouldn't speak on political. Must be getting wistful in my old age, or more pissed off with the pitiful excuses spread on front pages. Work longer for the wages, eat this flesh I've grown in cages. Stay at home now, it's the safest. Hate thy neighbour, hide your faces.
But yeah, his lyrics came across as kind of abstract on this song at points, which I guess is a way to add depth to the track and give it more re-listen value. Jay seems to be coming at this song trying to get a message across, which is always good when an artist is actually trying to say something of value with their music. He gets kind of political on this track, which he even hangs a lantern on by directly referencing how he used to never have political bars.
We used to have wolf and forest, now it's sheep and field. We used to have hope and promise ripped apart by greed. But a lot can change in a very short while if a few good men start walking the miles. If a few great minds be the guide for the blind, warm the ears of the deaf, shine a light for a child.
I don't know how I feel about this track overall. I generally love Gak's output, but this song just seemed a bit heavy for me. I usually prefer more light-hearted, tongue-in-cheek and fun rap songs. This one just felt kind of difficult for me to connect with for some reason.
Don't let him put fear in your playful heart, cause it's hard to get rid of when it's in. Don't let him spoon feed you and tell you it's true if there's more than that written on the tin. They want you at war with your fellow man, but remember, united we stand. They want you on knees with your head and hands, but remember inside that you...
Thank you for watching the Irish Rap Roundup for September of 2021. If you'd like to submit a song for me to review, DM the link to me on Instagram. My handle is @Adam.Mcloughlin. Thank you so much for watching this, and peace out.